Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are the Nonprofit Support Agency. We provide entrepreneurs, small and new nonprofits with the tools needed to start, launch, and grow a successful nonprofit organization. Today we are diving into a topic that every nonprofit founder needs to understand. How can you, as a founder of a nonprofit, pay yourself? As the founder of my own nonprofit, I know that starting and running a nonprofit organization is hard work. We spend countless hours, days, nights, and weekends to ensure we're doing everything necessary to manage funding and run the organization and its programs correctly. For many founders, their nonprofit is their passion project, and they start off as a volunteer. Soon, the organization begins to grow, more and more funding comes in, and you begin hiring employees. You are now working full-time in your organization, and you are still not getting paid. It's not uncommon for a founder to go a long time without being paid. But why is this? Founders need to eat too, right? So how can you pay yourself as a founder of your own nonprofit? There are 3 things to keep in mind. Towards the end of this video, we're going to show you how to budget paying yourself as a founder. Now back to the 3 points. First, it is important to recognize that it is perfectly reasonable to pay yourself for the valuable work you're doing. As a nonprofit founder, you're still likely to wear multiple hats: fundraiser, program developer, program supervisor, marketing specialist, bookkeeper, and more. But there are some crucial guidelines to follow when using grant or contract funds to pay your salary. Second, you must pay attention to the grants you are applying for. Always pay attention to the terms of the grant or contract. Some grants allow salaries to be a part of the budget, while others do not. You will also find that many grant funds are for program supplies only, and salaries are excluded. Keep in mind, you should still apply for those program-only grants, but be certain to look for funding that includes salaries. Third, you must remember, it is your board members who should come up with the salary for the founder. This will be your salary as a CEO or executive director of the organization. And board members cannot just pick a random number for your salary. It must be reasonable and in line with the industry standards for your location and based on the size of your organization. Your organization must have a formal process in place where your board evaluates and approves your salary and compensation package. This formal process helps avoid conflicts of interest. And as we always say, you must diversify your revenue sources. This prevents you from being dependent upon one source of income for your organization. Remember, you cannot live on grants alone. Click the link in the description of this video for a free board policy on compensating your founder. And now we are going to review a sample budget in Excel. In this example, the funder is funding you $200,000 for a program. This program is scheduled to begin in 2005. You will see that we have the salaries for 3 individuals. We have the program supervisor working part-time at 0.5 FTE. So they make $60,000 a year. Part-time is half of that, so that will be $30,000. We have an outreach specialist full-time for $55,000, a caseworker full-time for $50,000, and employee benefits and taxes 15%, which comes to a total of $155,000. Under program expenses, we have funds for rent in the amount of $10,000. We also have program supplies at $5,000. That can be if the funder is funding you to do computer classes and you have to buy a software, or if they're funding you to provide food. This can be for food that you purchase. So anything that you need to purchase to run your program can go under supplies. We have utilities for your office location. We have equipment. This can be laptops or any other supplies, laptops for your staff. We also have telephone and IT expenses, insurance, staff travel, staff development, professional and subcontractors. This can be your bookkeeper, or maybe you have a marketing specialist. It could be attorney fees, anything like that. You also have funds for taxes and license, miscellaneous expense, and then you have indirect costs, which can also be your overhead or admin costs. Most funders will limit you at 10%. Some will allow you to go to 12 or 15%, and some may be more, but the average would be 10%. So in this sample, we have a program supervisor. Typically, this will be where you can pay for the executive director's salary. If you have more than one program, for instance, if you have 4 programs, then you can budget 25% of the time for each of those programs so that your executive director will receive their full salary. So let's say this is your only program and you want to pay the executive director full-time. So if we change that to a full-time employee, that will increase our personnel expenses to $189,000, and we will have to decrease your budget elsewhere in order not to go over the $200,000 that you were allowed. So there are several ways you can do this. We're going to go ahead and see how we can reduce these expenses, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so we've adjusted our budget to make sure that we fall within the $200,000 grant award. And what we've done, we've decreased the caseworkers' hours to 30 hours, making them a quarter-time employee, reducing their salary to 37. This brings our total budget to 170. We also reduced our rent expenses, intending to use donor funds or other grant funding that we had come in to take care of the rest of the rent. Again, when adjusting your budget, you have to keep in mind what the funder is willing to pay for. So in most cases, funders will not pay for your utilities. So we took the utility expenses out. We also removed expenses for professional and subcontractors. Many times funders will not pay for those items. We also remove taxes, license dues, and subscriptions, along with our miscellaneous expenses. And with that, we were able to bring our program costs down to 29, allowing us to stay within the $200 budget, and also allowing us to pay for the program supervisor full-time. And this is the position that the executive director will hold. So the executive director will have to perform the full task of the program supervisor. Again, look at your contract to see the task that the program supervisor is to do, and the executive director can fill that role, or the founder can fill that role and thereby be paid as the program supervisor. So that's the basics of how to adjust your budget and how to pay the founder or executive director of the nonprofit organization. If you would like to see us do an example of multiple programs and adjusting the budget so that the executive director is paid across multiple programs, Let us know down in the comments and we'll be more than happy to make another video for you. In conclusion, being a nonprofit founder does not mean you have to work for free. By following these steps, you can pay yourself legally and ethically while ensuring that your organization remains transparent and mission-driven. As always, thank you for joining us today. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Feel free to drop a comment below with any questions or topics you may want us to cover in the future. Again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next video.